Welcome back to another movie review with your favorite film bros. Obviously, we are still in the same, dare I say, Badlands. No, no, just kidding. We are
Foreshadowing.
we are totally just super hyped to talk about this movie today. I feel like I'm super hyped to talk about it, especially with all this online chatter that is happening online when it comes to this movie. The discourse on this movie is I don't know if it's ridiculous or warranted, especially with the track record that Disney's been having, but at the same time, you know, it, I guess we're gonna have to talk about it and to break it down a little bit before before I actually give my opinion. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, why are you jumping the gun for it?" But Josh, let them know what we're gonna be talking about today, so we could just jump right in and get this started.
We are talking about Predator Badlands 2025.
So this is your first hunt. And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe. You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator. I could help you. Well, good luck with your journey.
Yes, Predator Badlands. Very, very what we wanted happened, Josh, right?
Yeah.
When Prey came out, when did Prey come out? Prey came out in
20,
2022,
2022.
2022, and we were like, man, y'all put a Predator movie that it was actually really sick, really raw, and just put it on streaming. And we were like, what a fumble,
You've never
right?
seen it before. She was crazy.
It was like, why would you do that? But then again, the Predator franchise has not had the best track record, right? Like AVP, I don't know why people
We, we
drag
don't
that
we don't talk
movie.
about those. We won't talk about those. We don't talk
I,
about them.
I, I give Alien versus Predator the pass, where Requiem kind of, the second one kind of, it doesn't get the pass anymore because you can barely see shit in that movie, right? But,
Yeah.
still some cool stuff that comes out of it. And then some hiatus goes by. We get, I think, what was it? The Predator 2018. And that one was just an abomination. I think a lot of people just could like were just saying no 100%, and then you get like this super mech suit at the end and blah 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 blah. And then Dan Trachtenberg or Trachtenberg or
Trachtenberg.
how do you say it?
Trachtenberg.
Trachtenberg. Dan Trachtenberg came in and basically, in my opinion, breathed life into this franchise, and not just gave it life, but is giving
For
it a
sure.
new identity with that as well. Going deeper into the lore, which is something that we were barely scratching the surface with, before, and 2018 tried to really expand upon that, but with some really great failure, in my opinion, right?
Basically. I mean, you can't blame them for trying and then going back to basics with streaming, which, I mean, allowed them to even go back to the beginning. Can't even be mad because now we got good stuff now.
Okay, okay. Now, this is where, online chatter kind of comes in and everything, right? Um, I personally think it's just a hate train that people are just trying to ride. But then, I see some of the criticisms. One of those criticisms was Predator Badlands was a bait and switch.
Right. Bait and
Um,
switch. What the fuck?
yeah, well, Disney's been kind of doing that for a while now, according to some people. Um, where the trailers came out and we thought it was supposed to be like a Predator, raw, gritty Predator movie where you're gonna, in my opinion, when I saw the trailer, okay,
Right.
I thought it was gonna be more of a, down the same vein of the first Predator and just from the perspective of the Predator, right? Like you're gonna see how they're doing it, and then you're gonna get some Obviously, some alien connections to there with the Watani synths and all that stuff, and then we were gonna eventually expand to an Alien versus Predator, and then go on from there. Never in the trailer did we see a pet come along, which Disney has been famous of doing since Grogu, basically, right? You can't just have an adventure movie. You have to have the little cute pet
A fuzzy
that goes
animal.
with, yeah, that goes with the adventure. A lot of people thought that it wasn't a Predator movie, but a buddy cop movie or like a buddy movie adventure.
You're right.
Uh, do you see those criticisms, or what do you think about
I
that?
think they are reaching. I've never heard of such a thing. Yes, it gives buddy cop vibes, but I mean, it's a new take of fresh air for what a Predator movie is. I think if you're mad about it, this isn't gonna be for you. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to evolve the franchise past just the killing and all that stuff. Now we're trying to understand what the Yautja are as a species and what makes them them. So I think if you're mad that we're diving into these buddy cop versions of films, that you're not gonna survive the winter type shit.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I see your POV too, but I guess I got to play devil's advocate. What
Okay.
if it's, like I said, the trailers told us one thing, but then when we got into the theater, it was different.
Well, I don't think you can have. I mean, the whole. I think the whole campaign for this movie was like literally, we are gonna get the Predator's perspective on the on you know on how it on it as a species. Like I don't think there was ever a point where they were like, oh, we're gonna have it kill people because I mean, how can you have it really? How can you have it be the good guy if it's killing normal people? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what every other alien predator movie was, which was humans versus the predator. How can you
Hmm.
make the predator the main character if he's the bad guy, quote unquote? So I think taking this route and making it more of like a rite of passage for the predator was better than anything else we would have gotten.
I seen somebody, I forgot what Twitter page put this down. I think it was Movies That Matter.
Right.
Shout out to them. I think he basically said, um, Predator Badlands is what Mandalorian and Grogu want to be. Like it's the movie that they
Disrespect.
aspire to be, but we're probably not gonna get that movie out of them. That this is what the movie that they probably wanted to make, but we're probably not gonna get it.
It's
So
that's kind of disrespectful. I mean, just because they're kind of doing it big right now is kind of crazy. But I mean, I could see that. I can understand that comparison. Another thing is like also like I think I saw Dan said that the concept for this movie was originally going to be like the Predator versus like Nazis or whatever, and it's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
In
like, isn't
German
that
times.
fucking crazy? Like we could have a
Did you
hunting
see the
movie like
concept
that.
art? Did you see the concept part? He was supposed to the Predator was supposed to have like three fangs
Oh
on each
no,
side.
I didn't see that. No, that sounds kind of cool, especially if it's like it would push harder the runt look that they were going for with him, where he was like meant to be the smaller like unaverage, you know, of the pack basically. Like that probably would have pushed it home.
Mm-hmm. I get that. Which one was it? There was one of them. It looked really cool because it was like the two fangs, and then there was like a third one right here, and it had like one of the heads of the Yahtzees basically.
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. If I find it, I'll send it to you. But yeah, that's where I was like, okay, we're kind of going in a different direction with it. But yeah, so there was the bait and switch argument, and then there was the Oh my God, I hate to say this one because this is the one that I don't indulge in at all, but I
okay.
will just put it out there just so you know. They say that this movie is for, the Raylos, the
The
ones that
Oh my
say they
god.
wanted to ship Kylo Ren and Rey, that this is what the movie that they wanted. They kind of want to ship the synthezoid with the predator, and
What the fuck?
have this like romantic kind of feel to it, kind of like what it's a crazy comparison because it seems kind of like one for one identical, but kind of like with Mandalorian Grogu, kind of hinting when Mando was kind of hinting that, him and Gina Carano's character was kind of go somewhere. And
Right.
then it was kind of hinting that him and Bo-Katan, after obviously Gina Carano got canned, Bo-Katan were kind of right there, boom, boom, boom. But it didn't really push that envelope. That's
Yeah.
where I guess the best way to say it is like Disney's kind of edging you with that kind of stuff, you know? Like
I
they
don't.
don't know if you guys are gonna ship it, so they're kind of like, put it out of the,
I don't. I think that's crazy. I don't agree with that at all. I
no,
There's no
no,
way that I saw them and was like, oh yeah, let's get them together. Like no, I see them more as like
the buddy cop,
a
buddy
team.
cop,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like they are actively what we got from Romulus with what's her name and her own synthezoid. Like that's exactly the pairing I see. I don't see them being like a thing.
Shipped or anything.
I
Okay.
think those people that are pushing that narrative, they're weird. Check their browser
That
history. Like that's weird.
that yeah, let me find out y'all looking up two Predators, one Cup. Stop
Exactly.
playing.
That's fucking crazy.
Two Utah, what are they? Utahs,
Yachts.
Yauchas, two Yauchas and one Cup. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Um,
disgusting.
but yeah, so that's kind of like the the sides of the story. But the first one I can kind of give a little validity. I will say that there was a little bit of a I didn't even know that there was going to be a baby creature, right? Like I didn't even know that you were going to have like a little baby thing to kind
Yeah, I
of
don't
hold
think
it
we saw that
together
in the trailer.
at all. So that was kind of like left field. And then when I seen it, it kind of for me it kind of gave the movie away. Not gonna lie. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh, that's. I was like, okay, and I was like, that's probably it. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sure enough, it was. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why they didn't want to put it in the trailers. It was going to be a little too on the nose.
Right.
But, if that was the route that they were going for, I would have assumed they would have went all in and doubled down and kind of given you a glimpse of these things.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had no idea that these things were going to be in there. That monster itself, right? That species.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
I can't remember. I We know that he was going after like a big creature, but to see like the little one, I thought it was kind of like, all right, you know.
Oh, last one too. I guess this one kind of goes into the neurotic side right here.
Oh,
This is the Disney cannot give us a movie without mommy or daddy issues. When
Nerd is crazy.
A Predator movie never had mommy or daddy issues. Now that Disney has the you know the reins, mommy and daddy issues. And I have to say, one movie out of a whole franchise shouldn't really warrant that kind of conversation, in my opinion, because Prey didn't do that. There was no mommy or daddy issues. It was, she was trying to prove herself, right?
Right.
Even if you want to go to the Hunters and Killers, that was literally what if anything, I thought it got too repetitive. I was like, all these are the same. You basically get a predator, they try to get somebody, the last solo person lives. You get cool action in the middle of it, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it's the same thing that you basically got in previous times. This is the first movie where they actually switched the formula up and people hate it. Why?
It makes no sense. I think Neurotic is crazy. I mean, he is not, the ideal audience member, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, but if you want to indulge in the argument,
it's always just like I don't know. I look at them crazy. I think when they say things like this, it's crazy because what do you expect, dog? I understand that this whole woke thing may bother some people or whatever, but like you want to see a bunch of dudes? What the fuck? What are you talking about, bro? Like you want to see this? You don't your dad was so perfect that you don't want to see this anywhere else? Like you don't care, whatever? Like I don't know.
well,
I
thanks
think
for having a loving home, all right?
exactly, man. Like damn. Like maybe your dad should have sent you out on your own little subplot. Like, like so fucking crazy.
You would have had like a little incentive to be like, oh shit, this is kind of a little different, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that one, I gotta say that one, I can't back either because this, like I said, this is the first time where we actually got something different, and though it kind of was a little weird for a second, I gotta give it to them. They gave us something fresh and new that we just didn't,
I
we
thought it
weren't
was pretty
expecting.
a breath of fresh air for sure.
a
I
hundred
think the whole
percent.
concept was really good.
And I gotta say, Rotten Tomato scores reflect it. As always, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. We're gonna be talking about the film. We're gonna start breaking it down now that we got the controversies out of the way, and then we'll talk about a little couple things at the back end. But for the most part, spoilers up ahead. If you guys haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's in theaters right now. Come back. If not, stick with us, you little freaks. I know you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
So
gotta like the
yeah,
spoilers.
Rotten Tomatoes, all right, certified fresh with an 85% on the tomato meter and a 95% on the popcorn meter. Also, this is the first movie, and we don't really do cinema scores here, but apparently this is the first movie in the franchise to get an A- cinema score. So,
A minus. Oh damn.
mhm. Yeah, and I guess all the other ones were like about a B or a C. So,
I mean that. I mean,
I
have you
think
seen the
2018's was
competition? Like,
yeah, 2018's was like a D or something like that. So you gotta see that there is a complete difference from between this film and what other Predator movies were kind of putting out
right, right,
back then.
right. Yeah, I agree with it. I think for a critic score, this is amazing. I think this is crazy. 95%. I think if you're part of the 5%, you should really have some fun. But for the critic score to be this high for like a Predator movie of all things, crazy. I never would have seen it.
It's good. It's good. I agree with the score. I'm honestly on the side. The other 5% got to be in the popcorn meter. That got to be Neurotic and his crew or something
They
like
gotta
that,
be
right?
like Xenomorph fans. Like they gotta be riding Xenomorph dig. Like
So yeah, we can agree with the score on the Rotten Tomatoes. At
yeah.
least, what do they say? When the score is good, then we're with it. But if it's not, we
Some
really don't give a
bullshit.
fuck about. We make our own opinions here, but we like to see the metrics, of
Exactly. We
course.
like to hopefully it's good enough and see that people do have taste. It's not. It's very rare where it
Exactly.
happens.
Yes, sir. So directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Um, he's been the one who's been pioneering this new era of Predator movies. Obviously, I give him his props. Like I said, breath of fresh air, in every single thing from Prey to the Killers. What is it? Killer of Killers,
Yeah, Killer
and then
Killers and this one.
now Predator Badlands. He's been kind of on a roll, um, so to speak. So I really don't have any issues with him kind of like helming this franchise for like a while,
Yeah,
right? As long
he
as he
does
just
great.
doesn't
He
run
does
out of
good.
ideas. I will say, creatively speaking, this got to be the most creative film that he's put out, at least in this franchise, when it comes down to like, the fighting and all that stuff.
Right.
Like literally, it's above what I was expecting that he was gonna deliver, to be
It's
honest.
crazy shit because even watching it, I was like, this movie looks phenomenal. Like there's so many things. Well, some of the CGI probably didn't need a little bit more work, but like for the most part, the whole movie looked amazing.
Considering that this movie only was made with $100 million,
They did
like
what they could, and they didn't really disappoint.
yeah, every single. I mean, I thought that they were gonna cheap out on us and have most of the scenes with a mask on.
Right.
They we saw the Predator
He had no mask.
100%
He had no mask. He
talking,
had to earn one.
everything. So I can't really be upset about it, about that, especially with 100 million pumped into it. Probably they thought it was going to be a streaming movie, and then he really proved that, what, we could do more than that, right?
Don't do me like
Um,
Prey.
Basically the first weekend made about 80. What the fuck's going on here? The first movie, this movie on its opening weekend made about 80 million. So, I mean, basically making the money back. It hasn't made it back yet, but it's doing pretty good. Pretty sure word of mouth will probably help
Right.
that out.
I sure fucking hope
Um,
so.
yeah, because we need more of this, right? And this is also the year of seeing doubles, right? So we got Elle Fanning, the sister of Dakota Fanning. Gotta love
Right.
Nepo babies.
Hmm.
She is playing Thea, and what was the other one?
Thea and Essa. Oh, Tessa. Sorry.
Tessa. Thea and Tessa. So she's
Right.
playing two roles in this one. Basically droid synths. We have Demetrius Shoes Kolamat. I'm gonna butcher this
Crazy
name.
ass name.
Kolamatangi as Deck, right? And then everybody else, I mean, they basically played synthezoids. I
Right.
mean, we had a couple of voice roles for the father and Kwai, but for the most part, we focused on Deck, the Predator, and Elle Fanning's Thea. Like I said,
Pretty like small like cast for sure.
that's what this is where this is one of those times where we say, where did the money go? right? We say, where did the money go, right? And a lot of the times you say, well, the money goes to the actors, right? You got big name actors, you want to show their face or whatever.
Yeah.
The money for this movie basically went into all CGI. They got two characters that they
Yep.
had to pay for, and everything else was for the world that they were building, for the predators themselves, for the synthezoid, missing its bottom half and all that stuff throughout the movie. You could tell where the money went, and they really you did say that some scenes kind of dragged a little bit. It is true, but not as much as I was gonna think that it was gonna happen. But
Right.
it did, they did stretch it to the max, in my opinion.
It looked good.
Uh, but let's start with the characters, Josh. What do you think about the characters? Obviously, like I said, two of them were the main ones. We had other ones, but let's just talk about Deck and Thea for right now.
I like. Okay, we it was for the first Predator film to have like almost no real like human dialogue. I've kind of felt for this character. I really enjoyed the dude that played him, Demetrius. I thought he did great. I think even embodying what a predator is and the struggle that Deck had to go through was great. I have no problems with Deck. I saw his story from the beginning to end. I thought it was great. Like I have no problems with him. No notes. I kind of feel that way for just about everybody. I do think the bad guy Tessa was kind of lacking, only because it felt like a lot of it was like, oh, how convenient that they're also searching for the thing that they were looking for, and getting the predator gear was also too easy in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. I think everybody delivers pretty well. I just, for the convenience in which the villain was written, I was kind of like, all right, this is kind of weird. But other than that, everybody killed it.
Okay. Mm. I can see that too. Uh, when it comes down to the characters and what they were doing with the acting roles, yeah, they did amazing jobs. But I could see what you said about Thea, um, because not Thea, what's the other one?
Tessa.
Tessa. I see what you said, because even when I was sitting in the movie theater, I was like, they gave this girl a lot of plot armor,
Yeah,
100%,
a
right?
little too convenient. You know what I mean? Like I understand they're meant
Yeah,
to be strong and stuff, but to a certain point, they also got to be. They can't have everything knowledgeable to them. You know what I mean?
yeah. I know that they made it a point to be like, well, those two are different, and I
Right.
mean, I understood that they were different, but there was a couple times where I thought personally they were gonna be, she could have been easily taken down, but because of obviously plot armor and you got to get the movie to keep going, they kind of pushed that envelope a little bit, and I understand that. But other than that, I think the Dex, basically his journey was nice. I just think that the movie, a lot of the, from Tessa's arc and all
Right.
that, a lot of that was for his journey, right? Like that's the best way I could put it. They plot armored his journey a little bit towards the end because they could have. I personally thought that there was a couple times where they could have just had him done for, right? We've seen Predators go down for less, so
Right. Right.
I can't
Right.
really, I can't really say that there wasn't plot armor in these
Right.
movies.
And that kind of goes for the. I would say that goes a little bit more for the writing on his part. Not so much his character arc. I think his character arc was good. The way they dive into him and his abilities and things like that, and the way he acts, kind of annoyed me in the beginning. And then he grows, and then we see how resourceful he can be and stuff, and you're like, okay, this should have been him, like, kind of consistently, because in the beginning, to have half your gear snatched up and everything, and then just stare at things like confusingly. I understand when that he's meant to be the bottom half of his clan or whatever, but I mean, have some resourcefulness, right? Like, am I wrong in saying that he should have been a little bit more experienced and not just like down at zero? Does that make any sense?
No, well, yes, yeah, because that's kind of like what I was thinking too. Because I was like, when he was on the planet, and in the first 5 minutes, he got his shits like basically took everything got taken away from him. I was like, okay, well, you're telling me he couldn't at least had. I mean, if you're the runt and you still made it this far, you should have some kind of how do you say, some kind of warrior experience, in my
Right.
opinion. Especially in the beginning, they kind of showcased that in the beginning that him and his brother were kind of going hand in hand. Yeah, he was a little bit lesser than him, but they were at least,
He was kind of
he was still
holding
teaching him
it
at
to
least.
himself.
The whole beginning was kind of like that. That's what I mean. Where like the beginning kind of felt plot armor-ish, and then when they started doing things for himself, I was like, "That's cool. That's exactly what we were looking for."
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they kind of, they gave him a little bit more plot armor towards the end, and that's where I was like, "Okay, well, we should have done away with that, and he should have been able to handle his own situations a little bit more creatively."
Basically, I mean, for him having no gear, and then not even the movie to address him trying to at least get back to his ship, that was something for me. I was like, why wouldn't he think, okay, I just got half my shit stolen. I should go gear up to try and find this monster or whatever, and then go about his day, find Ty or whatever, or maybe find Ty on the way to the ship. I don't know, something more a little bit more convenient. But to give it all to the bad guy who immediately knew, oh, let's find this crashed ship, let's take his tech, let's do everything we can to beat this guy and take him in with us. I was kind of like, okay, the bad guy has too much plot armor now. I was like, what the fuck?
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's
I
where it kind of
I thought it was weird. I thought that part was weird.
I get that because that was another thing too that I thought about. I was like, okay, if this is something that how do you say, like, he's the runt, that means that he should have relied on his weapons more. So he should have known, for you to just completely forget. And that was kind of like in the beginning too, when when the ship crash landed and everything, like, why wouldn't that have been your first objective? Go to your crash ship to get all your weapon,
Yeah.
your gun that's supposed to be on your shoulder and all that stuff. Like, why didn't you go and get that after you crashed? He just kind of was like, oh, I got to keep moving. It's like, oh, well, I don't think that's what your father showed you, right? Maybe that's why you're here, right? You
Right.
should have
Right.
went you got in your tools or whatever. Which I mean, I guess he got a tool that helped
Right.
him
Right.
out the rest of the way. And but
Really
uh,
nice too of them to even like brush that aside because he's like, well, you're not human, and I mean, technically, you aren't anything that specifies that I can't have you with me. You are a tool. I mean, it translates. It has strength. It can kind of do its own thing. But the only reason that it doesn't justify as him hunting with it is that it's not real. So I thought that was a neat little like circle around it. I thought that was pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, for him, letting his ego kind of go for a second to kind of let that happen. That I appreciated that, to keep it happening, but still that would have been like, well, I guess we never really seen a Yautja and a synthezoid actually meet in on screen. So I mean, I
Yeah,
can't
no.
really. It would have been different if like we seen it before and immediately they just kind of like rip them in half. But
Yeah.
like this one, they kind of laid down the groundwork, and I couldn't be too upset about it. So
Yeah, yeah,
characters were pretty good. World building now, this is the one that kind of got me because they were saying synthezoids, and I even today and one at the time of recording today, Dan did an interview and he basically said that this movie is set years away from anything that the timeline had for not only the Alien movies but for the Predator movies, in order for him to have free reign to do whatever the hell he wanted to do. Um, Led to some questions, right? Like the
Right.
synthezoid, when I was watching it, the synth was like, "Oh, your ship can go light speed," and the humans can't even do that. But I was like, the humans have been going light speed since the first Aliens movie,
Right.
right? So even if this movie is set all the way back there, you're still missing out on a whole bunch of stuff where they literally went on hyperdrives before, right? Like we've seen that happen.
Right. And it also makes no sense because the corporation is Watani, uh, and the Y one, right? YW. When
Hmm.
before it was just Watani. So to have the both of them, it also means that at some point they had the merger, which only comes after what, David, right?
Basically, yeah.
After the guy dies, after Watani dies, they buy him out and becomes Watani Utanabe or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Which that happened in the second Prometheus movie or the first
exactly,
Prometheus.
exactly, because they have to show because he dies. He the whole
And
point is that
that's way before the first Alien movie.
exactly. So this has to be somewhere after that. David has to have been online and stuff. So this has to be if we really want to try and stamp it, it has to be right after Covenant and before Aliens One and basically the first Predator, which takes place in Vietnam.
Hmm. If supposedly they never had it, but if they did, then that means that they have the most advanced synthezoids in the middle of everything, and they just refuse to use them ever again in the Alien franchise. So, I mean, I understand he's trying to do that whole fix and stuff like that, but still, it's still like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It still makes like, what
it's
is that
kind of
even?
like what off topic, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in another episode. But like, what's his name saying that the Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter is a new timeline and all that stuff. Like that doesn't make any sense. You know, like try. We understand that you're trying to keep ties away, but eventually you're gonna have to tie those ties.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you're completely in a, different universe.
That's what they
I'm looking
say.
at you, Dave Filoni.
That's what they say.
I'm looking at you, Filoni. So yeah, the world building in this one, I thought it was pretty nice.
I liked it.
I seen some of the Twitter chat, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't even know that the Yautjas even had the capacity to love." And I'm like, I mean,
It's not.
we've seen that in multiple movies before. They have the capacity to do that, but they also have the capacity to kill because runts don't make it that far.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it raises a couple of questions with everything with the world building because it's like, okay,
It's not
does that
even
mean
like
that his brother hid him away? Were they just training together? Or was it just like, one day the dad said, "Hey, he's just not getting any better. He needs to die now." Like what, you know what I mean? That there's certain questions that happened in the beginning that
right.
made you think like, it's kind of you would think that they would have just did away with him, but they just, they
Yeah, I was kind of
world
piecing it.
building.
I was kind of piecing it together as like he's clearly training him with the dad in mind because he knows if he doesn't get better, somebody's gonna come and kill him. And a lot of people were saying that I guess it's different in the comics where they won't even look at the runt like that. They'll look at him like he's a waste of space, sure, but they'll leave him alone because they only look to fight the best. So for the dad to want to execute him, no weapon, no nothing, not even an attempt of like battle, that looks different. So maybe this clan is different potentially,
Mhm.
and there's different ones because we thought that they don't kill each other and that yeah, you leave the runt alone because it's not a worthy battle for anybody. You know what I mean?
You just kind of exile them and just,
Exactly. They
or
end
you
up
send them to a planet and let them die on their own.
die, prove themselves, or yeah, die. Like that's literally the only point I could
Which
see
I
them
would have
doing.
thought like, hey, him coming back towards the end and bringing, you know, the synth, I would have thought like, hey, that would have been sufficient, but still.
He's just like, uh, bamboo stick. We don't even know what that is. Like, you know what I mean? He's just like, this is
Um,
too high tech for us. We don't even know what the hell that is.
and I thought it was, technically speaking, that would be that'd be the biggest gain hunt, right? Because she's the one that basically took out the monster. She did the one that basically did everything. So she would be that the person that you're supposed to get, right?
Yeah, but they don't even know. They were expecting him to bring back the other one, the
Yeah,
monster, the actual
basically.
beast, which I thought was cool. Even like, I mean, small spoiler for the cameo, but like, did you when you saw them scrolling through like the potential praise or whatever, did you
Hmm.
also get the feeling that that human that we got a glimpse at was the chick from Prey? Did you get that vibe? Because I that's the vibe I got.
That's what I was thinking too. And I was thinking like, Dan, you're really trying to push this. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that she was probably like his prize and all that stuff. But that, I mean, obviously that's why they put him in Killer of Killers. But then
Right.
you also saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in the extended cut, you also saw
Yeah.
Danny Glover as well. But we don't talk about that, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
um, but with her, I thought we were gonna see a xenomorph in that bitch too. At one point, I thought we were gonna at least see the.
Just a hint, you know what I mean? But he's like, no, 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 we ain't there yet. We gotta
Yeah,
we
right.
wait.
I thought I was gonna see like the queen, a quick glimpse of the queen or something, and just keep pushing. But they were like, no, 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 no. So don't do that. Um, but for the most part, world building. it's I can't say he nailed it 100%, but I will say that I was on board with what he was doing. But I can't, you after the fact coming out and saying that it's way down the road, but then stuff in the movie say negate that basically. I
It
can't.
it definitely hurts, and and that's the thing. I'm still very curious about the world that we're in. How does how does this clan fit? You know what I mean? Because that planet looks like the planet from Killer of Killers, and you know, I want to
The
know, and I
dad
want to
looked like the dude in the show too.
exactly. So I want to know, what do they look like? And he set up what the potential female Yamcha would look like. So I am very much interested to just know more and have them go into detail on screen about what they're like, because I guess the women are far more fierce and far more dangerous than the males, that they decide who they male with simply by besting them in combat. So I think
Hmm.
that's cool. I'd want to see that.
I would want to see that too, which it's kind of crazy that that's the lore and we haven't gotten a female Yautja at all.
Exactly. So imagine
Right?
how
Like
badass she has to be.
you would think if they're the main hunters, they would be the ones out there really doing most of the hunting, right? Like they would be doing most of it, but instead of the male ones. But for the most part, I give them 50-50 with the world building. I can't give them 100% credit just yet. I could be generous and say 60, but for the most part,
I would
I
say
lean
60
towards
40.
64. Okay, I will be generous today. I'd say 60-40 with the world building.
Okay.
But not 100% there. I wish we could have elaborated a little bit more. But then I also got to blame that on the runtime a little bit, right? It was only like an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, very compact,
Definitely short. Definitely.
short and action packed. That was my thing.
It
And
was good.
so for me, that was like, okay, so you really skipped over a lot of dialogue and a lot of things that can explain what's happening, where is this at, and blah 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 blah, in lieu of the action.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe they were like, well, we gotta make it action packed. We just can't be like Covenant. You know what I mean? We gotta pack it up a little bit. So I don't know. I like
Like
to.
Covenant. I
I,
mean,
I
we
like
we
to think
got
that they get
action.
both.
Uh-huh.
So I liked both. I think he did okay. 60-40.
60-40. 64. I mean, you don't think the runtime kind of hurt it? You don't agree with
No, I
me?
think you're a hater. No.
Well, I mean, not hating. I think there could have been a little bit more dialogue that could have explained a lot more. But when we're gonna get that, we moved on to fighting, right?
Right.
That
Right.
was basically it. Like even the emotional moments when like she was revealing like, oh, we've been doing this all along to kind of get what we needed or whatever.
Yeah.
We had that for a second, and then it kind of got mowed over. And I do like the little funny things where it's like save yourself tool and blah 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 blah. But for the most part,
Yeah.
after that happened, they basically started ramping it up because they said, hey, we got to wrap it up, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. At the
um,
end of the day, we're gonna be friends. That's the point.
I get it, I get it. Cinematography though.
I thought this movie was beautiful.
I don't think it looked beautiful. Unfortunate. I think a lot of Avatar looks beautiful. Movie like that looks beautiful. Like
Hater.
that, no, the landscape and everything. I think there was one scene where I was like, "Oh wow, this is very like it looks really nice, like visually from the rest of it." And that was the field of shards,
Yeah.
the field of grass, and all that stuff. But other than that, I feel like this movie just didn't look good. I personally did not like a lot of the shots that we're using. Even the shot where like when he crash landed, and they put it in the trailer too, where like he's rolling and it's like
Those are
moving and all this stuff.
those are the parts of CGI that I thought were kind of weird.
That kind of looked a little ugly. I think the beginning in the cave, like it was kind of dark,
I
so
thought
I thought that
the whole planet did look dark. Like even when in the beginning when he was like driving the little jet or whatever in the
uh-huh.
sand dunes, and you could see more like darkness. I was like, this looks too dark. I was like, this looks bad.
Yeah,
So, I see
I
what
gotta
you're saying.
say, this film kind of I did not look as good as I was hoping
Right.
that it was gonna look. I gotta say, downright looked a little ugly. I think Prey looked a lot prettier than what this one
That's
did.
because they were on Earth, man.
Well, I mean, I have a bias. I have a bias. Sorry, I'm not a Yautja
Sorry, I'm
dude.
human, bro.
I skin and flesh here.
I think it looked
But
pretty good. I think for the most part, a lot of the like scenery was good. I think a lot of the camera movement was nice. Like
the
you had a
camera
lot of
movement was nice. I
like
like that there
funny
wasn't a
moments.
lot of editing and stuff like that. For the most part, it was like you sat with the action and
Right.
everything, but film looked like shit. I gotta say, it
I
looked
don't know.
really gross. The
Some of it,
visually,
yeah.
a good chunk of it,
The CGI,
unfortunately.
some of the CGI. I think they stretched the budget there a little
If
bit.
you want to mix the cinematography with the CGI and kind of blame
60
some of those
40,
ugly shots on
60
it,
40.
even the ending, I mean, the ending was dark. I understand it was nighttime, but shit, illuminate some things, please. Like it was just dark.
Yeah.
It just I gotta say that it was an ugly looking film, in my opinion. It's the ugliest film I've seen in a while.
The Watabi robot was cool. I know that was like a nod toward Alien, right? Or Aliens
Yeah,
2.
that was
That was
really
cool.
nice. I was like to see them fighting and all that stuff. Like I said, I do like the creativity when it came down to like, the legs fighting and
Yeah.
then using that robot against the Calisk and being able to fight with the Predator and all that stuff. Like creatively speaking, you were cooking, bro.
It just looked
Visually
ugly.
to see it, yeah, you to put it out there and be like, hey, this is what it's gonna look like, and
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, that's it.
It just
I
looked
lost a
bad.
little bit of touch from Prey really looked like it was really good. Maybe we could chalk that up for maybe most of this stuff was CGI,
Maybe.
um like green screen and all that stuff, so they had to do a lot of the the visuals and the
Like they
rendering
had
on
volume.
post or whatever. But for the most part, I just think it just did not look that good. Plot.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't really
I
have
thought it was
notes.
good. I couldn't be upset. The plot armor was what ruined it for me a
That's
little
where the
bit.
negativity comes in.
hmm But other than that,
The story was nice. I
I
liked the
like the
beginning.
story. The father exiling his kid, him taking his brother because he didn't want to do what, because his brother saw something in him that he didn't even see in himself. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I I liked everything. I liked everything when it came down to the plot. I think everything was nice. It's just when the plot armor came in is when, well, maybe we should have thought about that when we were writing the story. They were like writing the story and they're like, well, what about, how did the synthezoid know how to use the Yautja gear and blah 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 blah. Don't worry about
I'm
it.
like, it has to have some
So
knowledge, and that's the thing. Like, those are the potential knots that he should have been, diving into, because how do they have info on potentially xenomorphs at this time and every other creature in the database, and then also have the Yatsha that they know they have good gear? It's like, really?
and the gear wasn't even protected or anything like
I
that.
thought, yeah, no, I thought some of those people should have blown up or something. I was like, really? Anybody that isn't Yautja can just step on the ship and fuck. Actually, that makes sense. Predator 2. Danny Glover did it, no problem.
Well, I was under. That's what I kind of looked at too. That's what I was thinking too. But even then, he didn't grab any of their gear. He wasn't able to grab the gear or anything
That's
like
true.
that. He grabbed the trophies. He was able to do all that stuff. But like, you wouldn't see any of the gear. Even in Alien versus Predator, he didn't give Homegirl any of the gear. He made a makeshift thing and said, "Here, fight for your fucking life."
Yeah.
Right? Like that. That I don't see them giving away gear or just letting it be, even like in the when she was walking in, when they first took the ship off, there was the red lasers that kind of stopped it. I thought that was gonna be like a thing, like you're gonna send a couple synths in there, they were gonna get completely obliterated, and then they were gonna figure out how to
Right,
get
right,
past
right.
it. But like I said, plot armor said, "Hey, we just need to get up in there and grab that shit,
Yeah.
right?
Ella
We
Fanning
need
plays
it for
both of
later."
them, and I think she does great. The bad guy just felt too convenient. It felt like she had a lot of fucking plot armor. That's the way it felt.
Another thing too is, the synths just kind of looking like each other and just being disposable, you know,
I didn't even know that they were
disposable.
synths. I halfway through, I was like, "Are these guys like robots, or are these all just soldiers that look the same?" And then they started getting like their insides like blown out, and I was like, "Okay, they're robots, I
Yeah,
guess."
they said that they didn't send any humans out there
Oh,
because they would get obliterated. So they sent whole crews worth of synths and blah 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 blah. Even at the end, I was like, damn, you guys got that many? Like, and you guys couldn't take down the Callus? Like, how do you guys have that many and just
Fucking
couldn't do it?
insane. And
Yeah.
I
So,
was wondering what could be so valuable about the Calisk, and then I saw it regenerate its whole fucking body, and I was like,
mhm,
they're still trying to recreate eternal life. I was like,
yeah.
they
But
want,
just with
they,
different
yeah, test this
different
motherfucker.
beings. Fight scenes.
I liked them. I thought everything looked pretty good. I mean,
Very
from what you
creative.
can see, I thought it was pretty good.
Very creative. Yeah, the fight with the brothers in the beginning was good. I liked the Callus. I liked when he split that. We saw it in the trailer, but when he split the stone rhino in half, that was
Yeah,
pretty cool. And took the spines out at one time. That shit was sick. Um, I even though I didn't like the little bugger, it was cool to see that he was helpful in helping out with that one bug that was about to eat him
right.
and
I
um
liked them. Funny thing, I was telling CJ about this, but it connected to me too late what was going on with that. Like I saw him and I was like, oh, that's cool, little like companion, and then like it spit on him, and I was like, okay, sign of like sign of respect, whatever amongst creatures, and then if the callus smells it on him, and then right at the end of the movie, I go, that makes so much sense. The baby did it, so he didn't eat him and knew that that was Fred. I was like, damn. I connected that dot too late. I was like, what the fuck?
that's what when I connected it was before everything started happening, and I was like, when it finally happened, I was like, why did it take so long? I would have thought the thing would have smelled them a long time ago, and they wouldn't have even he wouldn't have even cut it up. In my
Probably,
opinion, it would have
yeah.
just been he probably would have still tried, and it would have made for a different outcome, in my opinion. But it was like no, it was like no, they have to fight first, and then he's gonna right before he's about to get ate, he's gonna smell it, and I was like. But why wouldn't he have smelt it before?
Probably
Right? Like
because that motherfucker stinks, and it had to
that
get up
that
close and personal, maybe.
that could possibly be it too, but still I was like that was kind of in my opinion a little bit like that plot armor I was saying
For
like
sure.
that should have been if they were already fighting that should he should have been inside the belly by then, right?
Right.
But if they were gonna go that route where it was like, oh, that was his friend, then I would have thought, hey, it would have been, it would have been over with a long time ago. They would have been like, "Oh, that's what it is." So
Yeah.
I don't know. That had to be a little bit of the plot armor right there too. But the fight scenes, loved it. I love the the whole leg thing. Even though I was like, "Is these synthezoids sucks ass so bad they can't even take down some legs, like a pair of legs." So that
Right.
plot armor a little bit there too. Uh, creative, but plot armor.
I thought the fight scenes were pretty cool.
I gotta say, a lot of this stuff kind of went over for me because of the humor inside of the movie, though.
You think so? You think Ella Fanning was doing too much?
I think, yeah, I think a lot of the stuff was I was able to look past it because in the moment, I feel like when they had something, they had to make it funny a little bit. So like the whole fight scene at the end where I thought he was supposed to die, they kind of just brushed that off, and the next scene was, her trying to break in, and then it was like, whoa, what's that over there? And they just kind of looked at each other and they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,"
yeah.
and it was funny, and I was like, oh, okay. And then we kept moving on. So I will say that they kind of leaned on the humor a little bit when it comes to that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of hard. You gotta have some humor in it, and like it's hard to do that when the character you're following is serious. So I
I
thought
don't know.
Ella
I
Fanning
don't
was a
know if you
nice
need that
balance.
much humor in a Predator movie though.
I mean,
That was just my thing. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I would have thought he would have deaded it a long time ago.
maybe,
Right.
yeah, but I mean you can't really tell her to shut up. She's just gonna talk. I thought it was funny the way he was handling it, where he was just like talking the other direction, like I thought that was
Yeah,
something.
that was good. That was good. But yeah, fight scenes were good.
They worked really good.
I can't really be too upset about it. Um, yeah, man.
We ready for scoring? Let's go.
Yeah, I think we're ready for scoring. If you want to give us your last little spiel about it, since we're already getting to the
Right.
corner, the ending here. Give us your rating, 10 being the best, one being the worst, five being in the middle. Go ahead.
Um, I really like this movie. I like the messaging. I mean, I wish we could have seen it together in theaters, because I think the story was something really nice. And if you have a brother, it'll really hit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting you to die for me or nothing, but I understand the protection. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was nice. I think that bit really did come close to home a little bit. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. I think I like the character's journey. I think this is something new. I think Dan Trachtenberg does really good. They just gotta up his budget. I think Prey, looking the way it does, and still and like even better in some aspects than what a big box office movie looks like, is crazy because that's a streaming movie. But maybe it's because they put it all in the CGI and the Predator actually looks like really good, like makeup wise. Like I wish they just give him the budget he needs to, so none of it lacks. Because other than that, this movie is great. The story is great. The characters are cool. Yet, I just think the budget and all that hurts him, and it makes the movie look weird. But other than that, I give it like 9 out of 10.
Okay. Real generous there for you, 100%. I will say, yeah, that's exactly what I thought too when I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is a good brother movie, 100%. This is like something where like you can watch with your family member, with your sibling, and it would
Yeah,
have been like it would have hit a lot harder because yeah, it's really good. The whole father dynamic, I liked it. The fight scenes were really good, but the CGI lacked. I'm gonna say it again. I think even exactly that with all the money, or at least with the little bit of money that they were giving him, they should have probably upped that, especially if Prey did a lot better.
right.
And the hype train with Killer of Killers, hopefully by the next one they up his budget a little bit more. I'm not looking for like a $200 million Predator film, but we should have at least a
Something
little bit
close.
more to the point
125.
where
125. I'm cool with that. 150 maybe. Nothing. I'm not demanding like MCU money, but
mhm,
something that makes everything look
120,
good.
130, something that elevated a little bit more.
Yeah.
I do think, kind of like I said, Pandora is really beautiful,
Yeah.
right? Even the Predators movie, the one that came out in 2013, I believe, or
Right.
2012, with Adrian Brody. I think that one was I think that one looked a lot better than what this one looked,
Yeah.
right? I think that was one thing when it came down to the Predator movies that um, I really enjoyed. That I was hoping that we were gonna get more of a, these are like the worlds that we're going
Yeah.
to. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what it's gonna look like. Blah 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 blah. I thought we are really gonna bust open that box, but it was more. It kind of seemed a little lackluster when it came to that portion of the movie and all that stuff. Um, Character wise, I can't say that any of them lacked. I think everybody delivered what they needed to do. At least the both of them, and even like I said, seeing doubles for this whole year from Sinners to Mickey 17. Now we're getting Elle Fanning, um, over here playing double roles. It's just
Good shit.
it's good stuff. I gotta give this movie solid 8.
Hater. He's a hater. Look at him. Hater.
No, it's a good movie. I thought it was decent. It's just, like I said, plot armor is one of them too.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I forgot to mention. Plot armor. Uh that shit was heavy in this movie. Movie was ugly. Bait and switch. I gotta say, I even though it doesn't drop it multiple points because I do like the freshness of this movie, you could have been honest about what we were getting. If we were getting a Predator, Mandalorian, and Grogu film, I would have said, "Hey, this is something new." I would have still checked it out, but I was expecting exactly what I was expecting in the trailers,
Hater.
and that was I thought it was gonna be the Yautja trying to get what he needed, but that the synths were gonna be in the way,
Yeah.
that they were gonna be basically the main hunt after whatever hunt he was going for or whatever. And they kind of use those synths as the plot armor to kind of keep the movie rolling for like this big final boss
Right.
at the very end. And I dug it, but I feel like I just didn't dig it as well as Dan Trachtenberg was
Right.
hoping that
Yeah.
I would have, or as the whole group would have altogether. At the end of the day, I thought it was good. He is really breathing life into
For
this
sure.
franchise. I cannot
I
deny
agree.
that 100%. He's doing an amazing job. And for him to go in this direction, I think it's just gonna be. I think if you like this, you're gonna be very much invested
Mm-hmm.
in the future of the Predator franchise, if you hated this, you're gonna really just be like every single movie is gonna be, oh, they Disney-fied Predator, oh,
Right.
they Disney-fied
Everything's
Predator,
just
oh
gonna be
they
trash to you. It's not gonna be good.
we have to have more variety when it comes to this. It can't just be, oh, Predator shows up and, you know, this one's from a different clan and this one's a little unhinged and this one can laugh like a human being, but we don't know why. And then this one, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's so much stuff where it's like, we got to expand upon that, right? We need to
Exactly.
know what makes them tick. Exactly that. If we're gonna get to the next movie and we're gonna actually see the females doing more, I need an explanation on why they weren't the ones hunting in
Exactly.
the beginning, right? Like, why are they not the ones out there? Are they the ones that are supposed to protect the clan at home? Are they supposed to be doing certain things or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but that's something that needs to be explained
I
too, if
sure
that's
hope
something
they
you want
get
me to
to
go.
that. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
dive more into this lore. Like I hope this movie does well enough for them not to like back out of what they're planning because I can't wait to see it.
Okay, okay. One thing that I have to ask before we start walking out of this episode. When do you want to see an Alien versus Predator movie happen next? Now, I personally I did like that we're building up to that. They didn't
Yes.
just get our two favorite toys and start smashing them together in the middle of the movie, which is nice. But I want to see, like I said, I would have thought we would have had the little egg in there where it's like we saw the queen
Yeah.
xenomorph in there for like a split second, and it was like, no, we're not gonna go for that one or something, right? Like just kind of drop the little nuggets in there. I guess we can't. I guess I can't be too greedy because we did to get the synthezoids or
Right. Right.
whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I was hoping we are gonna get a little bit more. I personally, I can't see an Alien versus Predator movie not happening within the next 6 years. I like that needs to
I'm
happen within the
I'm
next
around
six.
there. Five or so. Maybe give a Romulus another sequel. Give this one another sequel, and then maybe that use that to make the foundation. You know, whether they decide to do an Alien Earth season 2, or even if they wanted to pump out a show like that, but for Predators, and then like have that be the groundwork, and then do the big thing that everybody wants them to do. Like I could see that being like realistic. 5 years, 5 or 6 years is a good spot.
Okay, okay, but if you know, would that one be sufficient in an animated movie, or we want to see live action?
Oh, I gotta see. We gotta see live action. Like, imagine we're following Deck or whatever on this journey of like becoming the a good hunter and stuff, and basically him. They meet. I imagine is that they're setting up these main characters so we can keep them for a while. So the people from Romulus, and then the people from uh, this movie Badlands, and they all meet up, and they're basically Alien versus Predator in that form.
And
Because
then we're gonna get the girl from Prey.
right, at some point. I really want to see her. Like I really hope that the the end cutscene to Killer of Killers wasn't a nothing burger, because they're just trapping motherfuckers in ice for what?
Yeah, it wasn't because Trachtenberg even said that he wanted to include her in this film, but ultimately he said no because he didn't want to distract from what we were doing towards the end. Um, but at the end of that, she was supposed to be there at one point when in one of the scripts, and it just didn't follow through. So,
That would have been amazing.
I'm hoping that this doesn't become an Ahsoka kind of love, right? Where like we just never like she just defeats everybody,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
just like, well, is she not a human being, right? Like, how is she able to do it? Um, but for the most part, I would say 5, 6 years for an Alien versus Predator movie. I do like the little groundwork that they're doing right now. It feels like I said, it doesn't feel like you're just getting two of our favorite toys and mashing them
yeah. Right.
together. It actually feels like it's taking some care and love to build it up. So yeah, man, I would. I know a lot of people are kind of like keep them away because the first two were kind of mediocre, but
They're a
I
bunch of
think if
haters.
Fede and Dan kind of put their heads together, we can get something crazy for sure.
Yeah, I
I just don't
agree.
want to see that ugly fucking monster again from Romulus.
All right, man. Leave it. We not dealing with the goddamn hybrid baby, okay?
Yeah, dude, I don't want to deal with no hybrid, baby. But with that being said, though, let us know what you guys think. Have you guys seen Predator Badlands? Are you guys still planning to go and watch it? Are you guys excited for what other chapters may be arriving um, within this Predator franchise and the Alien franchise? Because now we're actually laying the groundwork for what will eventually be an Alien versus Predator movie, and not just out of nowhere, right? Not
Right.
just be like, oh shit, no, then here they
We're
are. No,
here. Like, yeah.
we're getting an actual groundwork. But with that being said, any topics that we should be talking about, any movies that we should be reviewing, TV shows, we're gonna be getting around to the It Dairy series. I'm gonna start watching that one pretty soon, so
At
we're
some
gonna
point,
have to
yeah.
talk about that. Um, Josh, let them know where they could talk to us if they want to hear their voice on one of these episodes. And if shout out to them and yeah. Let them know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and FilmBros Podcast. Post on episodes are up. You can hit us up there for news movies wants to cover. But sprout links and socials I just gave you. It's like a Patreon. You subscribe, we help the show go. We'd greatly appreciate it. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcast at FilmBros Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. Again, wherever you get your podcast. Be part of the conversation. Twitch at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys.